Hello, everybody. I'm here with James Leisure from Pizza Plus. How you doing today, James?
I'm doing well.
Great, great. Thanks for coming today. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
So, why don't you tell everybody where you grew up, what city, what state, what neighborhood?
East Erie, Pennsylvania, East 28th Street, 7th and Reed for 4 years till '66. Then we went to 28th and Davison till '72, and then we went to 28th in Pennsylvania and Holy Rosary Tiger. But that neighborhood, there was no McDonald's. There was no, what would be there? Walmart. There was no Walmart.
No, yeah.
It was a baseball field.
Was it baseball field?
2 baseball fields, I believe.
Where Walmart is right now?
Yeah.
Wow, never knew that. Yeah. So, why don't you tell us about your family? What was your both parents or siblings?
Yes, Angela and Bob Leisure, and Don and Robin Leisure. My siblings are 5 and 6 years behind me, so they were kind of young when what we're going to get into all started. I, on the other hand, was 10. So they pulled me out of the coal mine and saved me from that job. Showed me how to run a hot pizza oven.
Right. So your family is had a pretty famous, I would say famous restaurant in Erie, PA called Pizza Plus. Beloved restaurant. Can you tell us about the history of that? How'd you guys get into that?
Yeah, it was back in '72, '73 when the idea got hatched by Mom and Dad, and then we moved into the Perry Plaza and established Pizza Plus. Dad was asked when he was buying the pizza oven what he knew about pizza, and he told the fella he knew how to eat it. And on we went. We started perhaps with a 8.5 by 11, half a piece of the 8.5 by 11 was the menu. And then we could have had a book many years later.
So your dad wasn't in the restaurant business before
No, he was a foundry worker and he did cement work, and Mom was a realtor. She's a Polish lady who loves to cook, and that's where the recipe, I imagine, came from. And you know what the other sub shop down the street, I'm sure their hoagies were dissected.
Right. So did you test the food out on people?
Yes,
neighbors?
In the neighborhood. There was a summer where all of a sudden I noticed we were giving food away, and that was a little rare to the neighbors. And
stuff that was made in the house.
Right. Try this pizza out. Try these hoagies out, and it was just to see if it was acceptable.
And that started to go over well.
Right. And it was. And then the trick is once you found it, be consistent. That was the hardest thing for almost 45 years.
You got to keep
to use the red pack and the Hormel and the 100% mozzarella and the same shells, and it really made a difference. And then preparing everything the same way.
Right.
That's how McDonald's. It's the same cheeseburger.
Right. Wherever you go, it's the same. Right. Consistency. So you moved into the Perry Plaza. Is there a reason why they chose that area? Or?
Well, it was our neighborhood. I'm sure the rent was cheap then. I don't recall who the owner was back then. I think it was the original people. And back then it was a hopping plaza. Foot traffic was a big thing. I mean, that plaza had men's stores, it had a meat market, it had 2 grocery markets, it had the state store, of course, it had 2 bars and a restaurant with, it was hopping, and
people constantly over
right.
there.
And that's how it worked. And also in the corner where the bowling alley was, down the one, there was like 6 credit unions. So you had all those workers from all the shops.
Right.
And that just word of mouth.
Right.
Right.
So once your dad and mom developed the like you said, like the recipe, did they teach that to you? How did you learn? How did you guys learn that stuff?
It was all word of mouth, and like nothing was ever written down, and it was craziness on that aspect, but secret, I guess, on the other
Right.
You know, and you just had to stay consistent with your suppliers.
Okay.
That was, you know, because they'd always want to, hey, we got something cheaper, we got this, you know.
Right. Right. And that would make a difference in the
And
taste, right?
sometimes, you know, and then we were very busy. It took a few years, but all of a sudden we were very busy. And so we were busy enough where I could call Hormel and say, dude, we've been using your pepperoni, and a lot of it. We used to slice all our own pepperoni. That was another thing that made a big difference.
Okay.
And we ground our own cheese, you know, and that really made a huge difference. And then all of a sudden it was tough to get Hormel pepperoni. And I remember we'd use different ones like margarita, and it's spicy. Well, the whole pie is spicy. I liked it,
Right.
but
Right.
it wasn't the same.
It wasn't the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So when they'd call, I'd be like, "You're correct."
Oh, they would call you and say, hey,
Oh
this-
yeah, and you know, the number one thing in the food business: don't lie to the person who just told you. You know, tell them. You know, even if you know, say a customer would come in and say, hey, if I forgot to order it, it's hard to say I forgot your order.
Right.
It's going to be another 20 minutes. But you can't lie to your customer.
Just tell them the truth, right?
It's easier.
Right. So what are some of the challenges of running a restaurant like, especially when you get to that level? I'm sure it was different.
I really, because I dealt with the public even from like a young age. All of my siblings, we were all, and then my children worked there. I'm talking young, like maybe 8, 9, 10 years old, and some of the people in the neighborhood could be rough, right? And then people driving through the neighborhood on US 20, and you know,
Right.
and you had to, you know, you had to hold your own. and when I left, finally, I think 2005, I did it for mental health.
You needed
I
to take-
needed to go. You know, I was like, I was full. The bin was full.
Right, that was it. Couldn't do it anymore, right. So, what are some great things about it?
We had big fun. Very, very good people working with us. We had sisters, a few sets, the Maloney sisters and the Torres sisters, where they worked for 30 plus years. And then even when the lady who bought it for a few years, they went with her.
Okay.
So when, you know, and we hired a lot of people, you know, and we were busy. We were #1 pizza at one time.
Yeah.
That was the busiest. We knew that day was coming. It was like, but other days we would sell like a large pizza every minute
Wow.
for hours.
Wow.
So that wasn't the rest of it. That was just,
Just the pizza.
right, you know, and like people would, you know, it's not ready. I'd be like, turn around. You ain't alone. You know, or like days like last week. Boy, do I not miss working there last week.
Right.
When it was 140 degrees, you know.
Right. Hot in there, huh?
Oh, it was, you know, hot for the customers.
Yeah. What were some of the top sellers coming out of there?
Well, the pizza was #1. And then, of course, we had a Superman hammer, 2-foot Italian hoagie, and the subs. And we gave you a decent product. You know, soups were very important during the day. People loved those. And the counter sandwiches, they were fun, you
Right.
know. And the people were fun. They were, you know. I guess at the end, my problem, I would laugh. Because, you know, I'd heard it 1,000 times, you know, it's different. It'd be like, and then folks would get mad. But the products were the antipastos were nice, the salads, you know.
Right.
Homemade meatballs, that was nice. Because then, as they were cooking in the oven, the whole neighborhood smelled like, even maybe all the way to your house.
Oh yeah, you could smell it all.
If the wind was right, if
You
it was a west wind, you could smell the meatballs.
Oh, yeah.
Over top of like Bob Palmer's muffler shop, and the old Coke plant.
Right. What did it teach you about life, man? Just in this whole thing. What did it?
Work and differences in people, economically. I grew up in the '60s, so all I heard about was racism and all that. It really, really opened my eyes,
Right.
to all the people of the world,
Right.
and it was
And they love
fun.
you guys too, right? People from all over,
Well, yeah, because we were, we were there,
Yeah, you're in the
And-
middle of it, right?
from, the '70s even weren't much different than the end of the '60s,
Right. What would you say to all the customers, the workers?
Well, thank you to the workers. It was a bunch of fun. I get to see a whole bunch of them still, and the customers, I don't see as many as I used to. For a while, I was in the markets doing things for bread companies, and I did because I worked in a couple in the neighborhood. And every day, every hour, I would talk to someone. Someone would, and it was nice to see people.
Right.
And I always said the same thing. We had a lot of fun, but it's over.
It's time to move
And
on.
I'm not coming back. 'Cause I'm too old now. And nobody else is coming back. Just remember all the good times.
Right. Was it hard to shut down?
It was, well, I left in 2005, so I'm sure a few years later it was.
For you, was it the? For you
Well,
to
not
walk
for
away?
me because I had left. I lived in the back of the building. People didn't know that. There was an apartment back there, okay? So I was still there when the other lady who bought it, okay? And then I left. But it was weird to have to go up and pay for the pizza. My brother said that. He goes, I made all the stuff at home, and it cost me like $18.
Any advice for people going in the restaurant business?
Today, it's so much different. Like, now it's just all delivery and computer and, completely different than what we,
Hand-to-hand
our
interaction.
idea and foot traffic in a plaza, and dealing with people, it's just completely different. I would not want to be in the restaurant business right now. Especially after the plague hours and all the health department you're talking to, and we did everything we could. You'd have to, like now the rents, just the rent alone and the expenses, that's why a lot of these places,
Are going out of business?
even Hooters, they can't even. I read a thing, they're closing a whole bunch of
Wow. Who did you say owns the Perry Plaza now?
Malcolm Glazier, who his family, he's deceased, but his sons, and they own the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Manchester United soccer team. The boys
Wow, I
run.
never knew that.
So I don't. They don't. They know it's here in a trailer park in Harbor Creek, but someone else.
Someone else manages it for him and all that.
But he was on property in the '70s, '80s. A couple times he would
came
show
up
up.
and show up.
And tell you, sweep that sidewalk over there. He fulfilled his role.
Anything else you want to share before we wrap up today?
No. It was just a lot of fun. We still have a lot of good memories from Pizza Plus and all the customers in the neighborhood, and it was very interesting to grow up there and watch the plaza decay. Because as soon as Erie County Farms is done, so's the rest of the plaza.
Can I get you to make one more pizza for me?
Sure. I have made them at home.
Oh, you have made them?
Yeah, one of the Roberts boys. They wanted manhandlers, and I had a couple people. They wanted pizza.
Yeah.
I had a lady who her parents came every year for their anniversary, so she would, if I'm home, if I'm
Yeah, if you're available, you would do. Yeah. Just not going back in
But
the restaurant.
the trick is it's really now it's just the same sauce.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Because I can't. I guess I'm not sure if I could get a couple shells from the baker. I think they're still open.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, everybody. So this was James Leisure. His family owned Pizza Plus, a famous restaurant in Erie, Pennsylvania. Thanks, James.
Thank you. Well.